me something that's going on in the news that does not make you happy. Go. Elections, yes.
Hillary.
The reason we have such a vitriolic campaign right now, ladies and gentlemen, is because people feel as though their current elected officials have let them down. They have been deceived by false promises, lack of communication, and lack of transparency. Does this sound like one of your bad bosses? Perhaps. We want our personal and professional goals to be aligned, and we want the opportunity to advance. Fantastic. Good. What else?
Advice.
Advice. Yes. We want good advice, not bad advice. Nobody holds you more accountable than you, if you care. Nobody's as hard on you as you are. We were talking last night about some of the military folks who are coming back and how there's a PTSD issue going on in this country with returning veterans. And then we wondered, well, did our Vietnam folks have that as well? They did. But it seems more prevalent now, and we're seeing it more. And our World War II vets had the same problem. And we think it's because when you're over what we call, and Richard knows, the sandbox, when you're in the sandbox and you're deployed, you've got this intense focus. You know you're part of something larger. We feel disenfranchised from the people we work with. We don't feel as though what we do matters. And let's face it, folks, we all want to leave a legacy. We all want to leave a life that matters. And this is why people need your leadership. Because people need bosses who are great. But these are the failures. We found there's some leaders who have no idea how to manage, build, and sustain a team. We found there are some leaders whose confidence has turned into arrogance. And that's one of the most dangerous things we have. One of our most popular chapter in the book is all about trust. Tom talked about it, Scott talked about it, and your panel talked about it. This concept of trust is huge. And can I use you, Dave? Is that all right? Fantastic. So Lisa, you show up to work, and you are absolutely fantastic. You've got a team that loves you. They have been with you. You come in. Every single project is under budget, before it's due. You don't need deadlines because you're way ahead of the deadlines, and everybody knows this. Dave is your big, big boss. And all of a sudden, you get an interim boss. And we'll call him Barney. Anybody named Barney in the room? Fantastic. So we've got this interim boss named Barney. And Barney comes in and says, so Lisa, if Dave comes by, tell him I've got a meeting. So you say, okay, boss. And then the next day he says, so Lisa, if Dave asks where I am, tell him I'm at lunch. You say, okay, boss. This happens every day. And your interim boss, Barney, is gone for a couple hours. So after a while, Dave, who's not stupid, comes to Lisa and says, so where's Barney? Oh, he's at lunch. He says he was here. He says he was here. And Dave says, but I haven't seen him in a while. And she says, he said he was here. And all of a sudden, Dave is thinking that Lisa is covering for Barney. And she is. And after a while, he confronts her. And he says, look, it seems like he's never here. Where is he? And she finally says, I don't know. He says he's been gone. So Barney comes back to work. Dave pulls Barney in the office. They have a closed-door discussion. They both come out and glare at Lisa. Now, she's a fantastic performer. But now Barney, who is her direct supervisor, doesn't trust her because he thinks she ratted him out to Dave. Dave now doesn't trust her because he thinks she's been covering for Barney this whole time. She's been in an untenable situation. So what would solve this problem? What do you do? Communicate, absolutely yes. In Lisa's situation, she went to Barney and said, look, I'd like to fix this. And he says, I never want to talk to you again. Absolutely real situation. She goes to Dave and says, Dave, I don't think I can work here. And he says, well, Barney's your boss. Deal with it. She was gone 2 weeks later. So this is what we found, is that people, of course, don't quit their job. They applied for those jobs. They competed for those jobs. What do they quit? They quit bad leadership. They quit bad bosses. There's your positive visionaries. Everything is great. I love my boss. I love my job. I love my workspace. I love what we get to do. I love our customers. I love our clients. I can't wait to get up every morning and serve you. I was in an organization recently, and a woman showed up to me, and she said, I just want to let you know that I woke up this morning with every intent in my heart to serve you and your family. What? It's amazing. That's a positive visionary. And then there's status quo visionaries. Your status quo visionaries are the people who say, I've I've got 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days to retire. Please don't mess with me. As long as nobody changes anything, I'm fine. I show up at exactly 8 o'clock every morning. I leave at exactly 4:30 every day. Just don't mess with my world, and everything will be fine. And some of you are just waiting till these people retire or die, whatever comes first. And in some cases, it would be hard to tell the difference. And then you've got the negative visionaries. Your negative visionaries, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be with you forever. They hate their life, they hate their job, they hate their house, they hate their dog, they hate their cat. They're not very fond of their children or their spouse. They don't really like you, but they wouldn't like anybody. They're never going to look for another job because the other job is just going to be just as bad as the one they have and better the devil they know than the devil they don't. Nobody's going to take them with them because they're awful. Now, the problem, of course, with the negative visionaries is they will creep into your status quo visionaries, and they will never leave. Your negative visionaries try to convert your status quo over to their way. Misery truly does love company because it gives them someone to complain to at work. Your vision has to be so powerful that it overcomes both the negative visionaries and the status quo visionaries. And it's hard. And I'm not saying that you have to be super sunshiny all the time, but you do have to work really hard to make sure that what you've done, what you've mapped out is so clear and so compelling that it overrides the negativity. In the military, we take 18 and 19-year-old people and we train them to go into really dangerous situations, which is not their instinct. Anybody here ever been a firefighter? I think that is the most crazy job ever. The rest of us run away from the fire. You run into the fire. And why do they do it? Because they have the training that allows them to say, I know what to do. They have the gear, the equipment that allows them to do it. And they have the leadership that tells them, this is an okay way to go in and fight this fire. That's a vision. Anybody here ever fly planes? Yeah. And you land on what? Runways. It's a whole different thing when you're trying to land on something that is rolling, pitching, and yawing in the middle of the ocean that's very tiny at night. There is no greater teamwork. There's no other reliance. And so you get the opportunity. There's 4 wires. And when your plane is coming in, there's a hook. And some of you have seen this on TV. And you hopefully saw it on the carrier. And the first time you saw it, you thought, I know it went through your head, Richard. You said, oh, thank you, Jesus, I joined the Air Force. Because you're supposed to catch this wire. And if you don't catch the wire, if you don't hit exactly right, and you don't catch that wire, you have to push full throttle to get back off that carrier and take off again so you get another chance to come around. But there's a few features going on. First, it's night, and the carrier is pitching. And if you don't push full throttle and go straight off that carrier, you are, instead of going straight off and up, you're going to go straight off over the side, and the volume of the carrier as it's moving through the water is going to suck you in that plane right underneath it. And you will be dead as soon as you can drown. It's dangerous. And if you don't push full throttle enough, soon enough, what's going to happen is you're going to stall right in front of the carrier, and it's going to go over you. And again, you will die as quickly as you can get smushed by a carrier. So safe on deck for us is kind of a big deal. Safe on deck, ATL, Atlanta. Safe on deck, DEN. And then enter Jennifer.